All right, it's meteorologist Jim Caldwell here in the First Alert Weather Center, and we are tracking a tornado warning that's digging a little deeper into our area now. It is a warning that is out for Anderson, Nelson, Spencer, and Washington counties, all included in on this, barely getting into that western end of Anderson County. You can see it right there. It's you are looking at the Bluegrass Parkway, that general area, so it stretches from Bardstown into the far western sections of Anderson County. Let me show you some of the radar data on this, and you can see nothing overly impressive as far as the intensity of the storm itself is concerned, but it is still, there's still some embedded spin within that thunderstorm that might be producing a possible tornado in that area. It was radar indicated. That's what we've been looking at, and I'm going to peek inside the storm. That's what I'm going to do next here to see some of the wind velocities and indicating that there might be a little bit of spin left over there. So that's the concern here. That's why we are cutting in to show you these warnings. Let me broaden the view out again. And you can see how we're getting the double whammy out there with two different tornado warnings that have been issued in that general area. The first warning came out just a little while ago for Marion, Nelson, and Washington County. And then you also had the new warning that extends a little bit more to the east of that. That one is the one that gets all the way into Anderson County. This does include the city of Bardstown, by the way, just for a point of reference. And then in the far western sections of Anderson County here. Let me plot that necessary information for you too here. Anderson, Nelson, Spencer, and Washington. This is a completely different warning that's out for some of the same areas, and that continues through 9 o'clock this morning, so we're roughly 28 minutes away from the expiration of this, but it is certainly on the map, and spinning is the big concern as it moves forward. So we have some time left on this warning and could continue on deeper into our area. It could include more of Anderson County and then maybe into Mercer County. Again, we have to kind of watch this very closely as we advance through the next little bit here. That is our concern, the tornado warnings that are out right now. Let me show you some radar data, too, as we are tracking these storms on it. And I'm going to turn on the warning on this, too, so you can see it and get your placement a little bit better with where it is. There it is highlighted in red. So you see the red line. And sometimes those blend in a little bit, but there it is on the screen. You can see the indicator right there around the Bluegrass Parkway. So while this doesn't look like a super intense storm, what's happened is embedded within it, we are starting to see some of the stronger spins, and the spins indicate that we could be in a little bit of trouble because we are tracking a tornado warning for those areas. This remains in effect until 9 o'clock. I'm looking at some of the other information. That's why you're seeing that pop up on the screen. So you're looking at the potential that this takes over some rural areas for the next little bit as well because of the positioning of where it is, but we'll keep marching toward more populated areas as we move through time. Now, sometimes when you get a warning, it's been spotted on the ground. In this particular case, it was radar indicated, which means that we had enough wind shear associated with this thunderstorm, wind shear being spin. In this case, we're talking about the spin inside it to issue that warning. I'm going to go closer to ground level and get some more communities plotted here for you so you can see who is in the path of this particular cell. And you see places like, well, I'll call it Poland because it looks like colon. We run over toward Bloomfield, the community of Sparrow. You've got Klondike included in on this. That gets us into Anderson County with that. Van Buren, another community, and along 62, there's 248, it looks like, and you can see some of the other roads, Clay Burgeon Road. Again, these are just areas to get you more associated with where this storm is and where it could possibly be producing a tornado in that area. So we've got two warnings back to back that are coming up here in that area along the Bluegrass Parkway that gets all the way as far east as Anderson County. You've got 555, I believe that is, there in the middle. That's also right under the path of this as well, with that storm maybe producing some real problems out there. Already winds have been a factor in some of these storms and large hail. Now we're actually getting to the level of tracking a possible tornado out there in this area too. So all the spots that we have highlighted here, Bloomfield, back down into the community of Sparrow, as I mentioned a minute ago, and then Klondike. So that takes us into the far western part of Anderson County. It's a double-decker. You got two different cells, two different sections of the cell that are igniting the possibility of some spin or some rotation embedded within it. So that right there is your storm moving through toward Lebanon as well, and toward Springfield. There's a tornado warning headed for you. I'll get a little closer to that one so we can see it up close and personal and get some more communities. There's 152 on the map, and there's Sissylville, Bear Wallow also on the map. That's embedded, or in the area embedded with the rotation there along 152, and I've got 150 and 429 in that particular cell. So that's what we're tracking out there. Two different tornado warnings that are moving through the area, getting closer and closer to deeper and deeper into central Kentucky is the concern here as we move forward. It's already a factor out there for those folks that are under the possible tornado right now, tracking off toward the east, and it will continue to do that here as we move through time. I'm going to switch views up here just a little bit as we try to dig in and on this particular thunderstorm. So we'll bounce around a little bit with some safety tips and all that too. So let's talk safety. Let's talk about that. Seek a safe shelter if you're in that tornado warned zone. Safest place for you to be is in a basement, in an interior room or hallway on the first floor of your home. Evacuate mobile homes. That's because they can be easily picked up and thrown around. When you're dealing with a tornado, it can certainly do that. And protect your head. You often hear Chris talk about getting helmets or what have you, and if you've got a helmet, that's certainly what you want to try to get on you. Wrap yourself in pillows and blankets and things if you are in the path of this storm that could be producing a tornado there through several counties. So those are the safety tips that we often talk about and in a situation like this. Here's what we have on the big view. You can see the animated run of this on the first alert radar network. You can see those thunderstorms that are moving in and around those areas. They don't look super impressive with traditional radar, just the flat-out real radar data, but they are within the interior of it, because that's where we have some spin that continues to show signs of progressing through several areas here, from, like I said, Bardstown, which is now in the clear, so it was there a little while ago, but it keeps on moving through the region. I've got an iPad talking to me over here, too, talking about the potential for severe weather. So keeping you up to date in any possible way that we can. But out around Willisburg and then moving just to the west of Lawrenceburg, that's where the currently warned area is in our area, in our region, I should say. And that'll keep on moving to the east, and that's my concern. What happens next? While I think it looks like it's weakening some, the rotation is still showing some signs of holding on here. The warning is set to go all the way out until about 9 o'clock, which is, it's 8:38 right now. Let me focus on that warnings and drop the radar data for a second so you can see it a little bit better. So there it is on the screen. You see it. I'll zoom in a little tighter for you, and all the highlighted areas. Now the back side of this is starting to look a little bit better. The backside, I'll pull out my arrow for you. So out toward like Bardstown, those places, it's looking a lot clearer. But the points to the east of that, that's the concern, to keep that severe weather active. The possible tornado would continue along that track off toward the east. Let me highlight it again. So through the warned area from Bloomfield to Willisburg, and then the far western sections of Anderson County. You've heard me talk about that quite a bit here, because that's the track that it's on right now, and we'll continue moving toward the east as we advance through time here. So the official information on the warning looks like this. You've got tornado warning, Anderson, Nelson, Spencer, and Washington County until 9 o'clock this morning. That's how long this goes, and we're right now closing in on 8:40, so still 20 minutes left of the warning. Now, sometimes they go away early, especially if there's signs of weakening, and from what I can tell by just looking at it here, we'll animate this too, so you can see what I've been watching. It appears to weaken some, but it's all about what's inside it, and what's inside it is the spin. So the spin has been showing up there for a little while, and that's why you're getting some of these warnings that are issued out there because of the indication that there might be a tornado on radar within those thunderstorms. Let me get it back into live mode here, and we'll look a little closer at some of these thunderstorms as they are right now, not just as they have been. So let's zoom in a little tighter to this particular area. There we go, zooming in. And you can see there you've got Willisburg. I mentioned them a minute ago. Let's go out in Anderson County, too, because that's where the warning goes at its farthest point. Klondike, Sparrow, Ashbrook. You've got, looks like, Hickory Grove there, Anderson City, all within the warned area in Anderson County. And then back toward the south, you've got Sharpsville, Pulliam, Willisburg, which I've mentioned a couple of times, and let me zoom back out again. But there you see the general area of concern right through Springfield right now. Pretty intense thunderstorm compared to what else is out there on the map. That's what we have that continues to kind of march along here. And it will keep on cruising through those skies. The warned cell, you've got two different areas for this. You've got the tornado warning for Marion, Nelson, and Washington County. That is the first warning that came out just a little while ago, and we're going to have the second warning that also came out immediately following it. It's the one that you see out here that I've been focusing on as well, that basically runs right along the Bluegrass Parkway. So if you know someone that might be traveling along the Bluegrass Parkway right now, you might want to give them a heads up, give them a call, and let them know that that storm that they're driving in could certainly be producing a tornado, and maybe they want to try to get off the road and find shelter in some location there. So, because this is one of those situations where the rain's coming down at a heavy rate, and it might be hard to see visibly what's happening out away from it. All right, now that's a good sign. What just happened here is a severe thunderstorm warning has replaced the tornado warning on the southern side of this. So that severe thunderstorm warning would indicate that, yes, it's still a rough situation because we could be dealing with more in the way of strong winds in excess of about 60 miles per hour, but it also indicates that maybe the spin's not there. So we downgrade the status of the storm. It can still cause damage and cause problems out there. We've got the severe thunderstorm warning that's out for Boyle, Marion, Mercer, and Washington County. So it kind of takes the place of the eventual path of that bottom severe thunderstorm that's possibly producing a tornado. That's what I'm looking at here. So for the folks in Danville, Harrodsburg, get ready, because here comes a good strong thunderstorm in your area. One producing maybe winds up to 60 miles per hour, maybe higher than that in some cases, with the locally heavy rain. And of course, you get the possibility of some hail embedded within that as well. So that's where we are in the tracking mode on the northern side of that. And there's another severe thunderstorm warning that's popping up. So all along that line, we're starting to see these warnings come out in different categories: severe thunderstorm and then tornado warning. That's what we have. This is your severe thunderstorm warning that's out until 9:15 for Adair, Boyle, different section of Boyle County, by the way, Casey, Green, Marion, and Taylor County, all in that one. So it loops in some areas just outside of us, but it also has several counties that are in our area too. So through 9:15, that's the expiration time on that severe thunderstorm warning. So getting action-packed here all of a sudden with these severe thunderstorms that are moving in that, again, could be producing tornadic activity. Two cells still on the map that might be doing that. I'll switch over to radar data again so we can see what's happening within those. And the one area of concern, that northern cell does not look as impressive as it did a little while ago. The one that we were talking about that could be producing a tornado that would race into parts of Anderson County a little while ago. Here's what it looks like with them overlapping. You can see that all of that has weakened considerably in and around, like back towards Bardstown, Bloomfield, also in that run with it. And here we've got it highlighted. See how it's weakened in that tornado warned area. So that's a good sign as well. But we might see an extension on severe thunderstorm warning come from that, which is what we've already had go toward you folks there in Harrodsburg, down to Perryville, into Danville, just to name a few locations that are in severe thunderstorm mode as well. And remember, these can produce damaging winds just as anything else can. And that certainly happens all the time with straight line wind and how they impact folks in our area. So we know those winds can be just as dangerous and just as problematic as a tornado. Just because it doesn't say tornado on it doesn't mean that we aren't talking about the significant threat of strong winds moving through an area. That's why these severe thunderstorm warnings have also gone out. But in the tornado warned storm, the strongest points are right there around Willisburg and out toward Litzy. That's what we'll call it, Valley Hill, and along 555. That's all headed out toward the east as we move along here. So you can see some of those communities that are highlighted and some of the road numbers. I was trying to get them out there for you, too, because they'll register for you, those folks that live in that area, quicker than they even do for me. And I have to study these maps all the time, so you understand. So right through there, it'll continue to move through this along, it looks like 53, 555, and 433 in that area. There's Cardwell, Sharpsville, all within that path. Again, it does appear to have weakened quite a bit from tornadic status, but as long as that warning's up, we're going to hang right here with it and try to watch how this plays out to see if there are any extensions or cancellations of a tornado warning for this area. That's what we've been watching, and our concern has been here so far this morning. And right now, no new information out for that particular cell that we're watching in that area. But we'll stay on top of it here for you as we move through time, just checking the feed for anything major changing, and nothing changing so far with the expiration time on that or the early cancellation of it. But that could be coming here shortly. That all comes in time as the evaluation of cells, especially as they weaken. But sometimes you can get a little spin up as these things are coming down. That's also always a concern when the storms are starting to weaken and get to that status. So that's where we are right now in tracking these thunderstorms that are out there in our area right now. So tornado warning continues across several counties, getting as far east as Anderson County. That's what we have highlighted on the map for you, and also bumping right up against Mercer County too. Severe thunderstorm warning has replaced the southern storm that's in on this. Looks like you go back out to the west, and we've been running into some more problems out there, but nothing new for the particular warned cells, other than the fact that it got replaced by, on the eastern end, with a severe thunderstorm warning. All right, let's look at these again on a wider scale so you can see what I'm seeing. And you see the one tornado warning is now gone. That was expected. Now we just have to wait for the expiration of the early cancellation, perhaps, on the northern one, which is the one that we still have here. And we'll highlight the information for you again so you can see it along the Bluegrass Parkway for Anderson, Nelson, Spencer, Washington counties, all included with that one. So that's the warning you see highlighted there in red right now. So all areas in red are in that tornado warned storm. So there's the Bluegrass Parkway. You see the text for it, and that red line that goes down through there. That's the parkway too that goes through Anderson County and gets you back into Woodford County. But as it stands right now, just looking at this and the way it's weakened, I'm thinking that they're just going to stick with severe on that status as well, because most of the activity is gone down to the, well, as I say that, they end up seeing more spin. So that's what happens when you start seeing something weaken. As I said, it can trick you sometimes during that weakening phase. So now we have an extension on the tornado warning that will keep on moving through parts of into central Kentucky. I mean, it's bumping right up against us here. You got a tornado warning out for Boyle, Garrett, Jessamine, Mercer, Washington, and Woodford counties, all now included in the tornado warning. That's our newest warning out, and it's going to keep on trucking. Again, you've got Jessamine County involved in this one. You've got Garrett County, Mercer County as well. So a bunch of different areas now included in the tornado warned storm, and that goes until 9/15. So as these start bearing down on us, we could be tracking some real troublemakers embedded within that. So this warning was first initially extended out as a severe thunderstorm warning, but now the rotation, they're seeing some signs of another backside tornado forming in central Washington County, so it's been upgraded to a tornado warning. So right as it looked like the overall setup was trying to weaken some, we get back into that mode where the thunderstorm could be producing some spin on the backside. So let's view it at a different level here. We'll zoom in on some of the radar data here, and you can see where we were with that around Willisburg. I keep mentioning Willisburg because that's where a lot of the stronger activity is right now. And with that, moving off toward the east, it could be producing more tornadic activity as it heads in that general direction. Let's get a little closer and look at some more places like Thompsonville, 152, I believe that is. And then you've got 1920 in the path of this storm, too. So all of these areas are in the path of the new tornado warning that now replaces a severe thunderstorm warning that was issued just a little while ago. The northern side of this now gone. It was allowed to cancel. They canceled that for Anderson, Nelson, Spencer, and Washington County. That northern side of it, the one I was watching that was headed toward Anderson County, and you can see why, because all of the strong activity is gone from it. There's nothing left. That would have been in this zone right here, and now all of that's gone. Now, on the southern side, you've got this intensity right here that's spinning up in Washington County that's going to keep on moving toward folks in Mercer County. That's why the warning was extended, and because the spin was starting to come together a little better within that particular cell. So now we go into that mode of tracking the possibility of a tornado moving through that area, and just looking at different layers of radar data certainly indicates that is the case for that cell. There's some spin, and let's see what the automatic plot does too. I bet there's some spin certainly showing up in a big way throughout several of these storms. You might run into it with some of the thunderstorms that are out there, and hail producers too, even trying to indicate a little spin around Frankfort, not as intense as what we've been watching down with this cell that's moved through Springfield and will continue off toward the east as we move through time. You got this severe thunderstorm possibly producing a tornado in that area here. Let's plot that information again for you while I'm looking at the radar data. So all the counties that are included, because it's all running together. Boyle, Garrett, Jessamine, Mercer, Washington, and Woodford counties now included in this. And this is the southern parts of Woodford County, the northern parts of Garrett County and Jessamine County. It's the southwest corner of Jessamine County, so it's not quite into the city of Nicholasville, but could very well extend even more toward the north and east, and that would mean eventually that could come toward us here in Lexington, because that's the trajectory this is on. It's moving off toward the northeast, moving east-northeast around 60 miles per hour. So this is not just sitting around. It's really covering some major ground as it advances through our skies. So tornado warning through 9:15 for all those areas highlighted. And just like the other, it could go away earlier if weakening starts to occur, but they started seeing some spin up again within that cell. Out at Maker's Mark Station in Loretto, by the way, just reported a 55-mile-per-hour wind gust. So that's the northwest corner of Marion County. So that's a straight-up wind gust at 55 miles per hour. So these are producing strong winds, and the possibility of that tornado, too, which is embedded within our cell. Let me zoom in a little tighter again so we can see who's right now under that part of the cell. Mackville, there's Willisburg again showing up on the map. We'll zoom in a little tighter for you. You've got the community of Battle out towards Stewart, included in the path of this, passing right over Thompsonville with some of the rotation as well. You get to Cardwell, Cornishville, looks like. That are all within the path of this storm right now, just to name a few locations. But if you notice, you're not seeing a lot of roads. I see one up there, and I see two on the map at this time. That's it. You're in a very rural part of the area, so you're not seeing as much as significant amount of population in these spots. We get a little closer, we see a few more roads, and you can see them coming into play, so it's right on top of, you've got Mann's Road there, Cornishville Road, Bushtown Road, Huffman Road, just to name a few of those locations that are headed through Mercer County here, with the possible cell producing a tornado that's moving through Washington County right now, and we're watching to see if this thing can weaken some, but there's indication, there you go, there's indication that the spin is still there embedded within it, which is what you're seeing the icon show us there. See how that arrow is going around in circles? That says that the spin is generally still there, and will continue along the track that we're on for the next little bit here, and keep our concerns high for the potential of some tornadic activity in that storm. So it's at least still picking up on that. All of this was radar indicated, by the way. No one has actually reported seeing it as of this point. Doesn't look like anyone has reported seeing it on the ground, seeing a tornado anywhere, but we did get reports of strong winds in Marion County so far. So that just goes hand in hand with everything else that's developed out there, and will continue to kind of move along. Again, that tornado warning that we're watching that's headed for folks in Harrodsburg, it runs until 9:15. It is 8:55 right now with the warned storm. It'll keep on moving north and east-northeast is generally what this looks like. That's the track that we are tracking here with it. And that particular cell that we're concerned with is going to, again, looks like it's headed right toward folks in Harrodsburg, for example, along 152. It's traveling that way and getting some general spin within the thunderstorm. So what's happening is we're getting a little bit of this. You got a little circulation in here close to Mackville right now, and as that spin continues, that spin could drive up a tornado, and that's what our concern is as we move forward from this point, is that spin that's embedded within the thunderstorm moves on and comes our way into deeper into Mercer County here, and then several others are included in on that as well. Hopefully we can lose some of that spin, and we can just go to a gusty thunderstorm. That would be the preferred way to go about this, but right now it doesn't look like it. Severe thunderstorm warning continues for Boyle, Casey, Marion, Taylor counties until 9:15 as well. We have those that are out there too, so don't forget about those warnings. I'll jump around just a little bit to give you a little bit of a radar tour. You've got a big warning that's out here that covers several counties. There you see it, and that one also runs through 9:15, so we're roughly almost 20 minutes away from that, roughly 20 minutes, just less than that, away from the expiration on that severe thunderstorm warning as we are with the tornado warning. If you're watching and you are in Lancaster right now and you're hearing there's a tornado warning out for your area, the storm is just to the north of Lancaster, or the path of the storm is just north of Lancaster. There you see it, but it's out toward Bryantsville. You fall within the category, you fall within the stripe of precipitation for the tornado warning. That's where we have it on the far eastern side of this, out towards Salvisa included in on this, Harrodsburg, Bergen also in there as well, just to name a few of those locations that are within the warned area. Wilmore in this, and they're not in the thick of it just yet, but you are in the actual warned cell. That's coming your way, so just be prepared here. This is the time to kind of put some of those safety measures in place and try to get into a safe location. If you've got a basement right now, Harrodsburg, that'd be the best place for you to get. If you've got just a multi-level home, get to the bottom floor and put yourself, try to find the middle of the house, to put more walls in between you and what's outside. And what's outside could very well be a tornado. So by adding that, you fortify yourself a little bit. You're keeping any flying debris. It'll have to make it a penetration through a couple of walls. That's why we always say get to the center of the house in these situations on the bottom floor. You don't want to be on the top floor because those can easily be ripped apart. So that's a concern in a thunderstorm possibly producing a tornado. So again,